All right, so boom, look, listen. Whether it's movies, music, TV shows, books, gaming, anime, manga, or any type of media and entertainment, we have all either called or heard some of those categories being labeled as a hidden gem or underrated. But honestly, I feel like that word doesn't truly justify how much something doesn't get the recognition it deserves or how unappreciated it is. So when you hear the word underrated, I'm pretty sure most people, including myself, sit back and think, is this truly underrated, or is it actually highly rated, or is it just straight up dog water? With so many new pieces of media coming out almost every day, a lot of things get flown under the radar. And in my personal opinion, that's especially the case with films, television, games, and anime. I could say the same for books, music, and manga, but let's be honest, the average person doesn't read, and if they do, it's a self-help book or biography, which there's nothing wrong with, of course. Plus, I haven't read enough books to make a case for it. Same thing with manga, but I do think manga as a whole is very underrated, and that could be a whole separate video that somebody else can make. But I do hope it continues to trend like it has been in the last couple of months. And music, it's either artist or album is fire, or it's ass. Like, it's too much to make a case when music predates from so long ago, and all you hear nowadays is this shit isn't real music. So instead, we're gonna exclude those three and focus on the others, since I would say I'm well versed when it comes to flicks, telly shows, anime, and games. So I'm gonna try to limit myself to one example for each subject, because if I don't, I'm just gonna go on and on ranting, chatting about the hundreds to thousands of things that I think are underrated, and there's enough time for that. But picture this: you just come to the realization that your beloved show, game, movie, etc. is underrated. How does that make you feel? Sad, frustrated, indifferent, or maybe happy because it's not mainstream and you could say I've been a fan since day one. So you can never be a bandwagoner. Oh, how you made it like some little freak. But me, it makes me feel this morning to find out something I thought was pretty good is underrated. Wait, hold on. I forgot to say this, but before we get into the example, let's take a look at the definition of underrated. Obviously, we all know what it means, but it doesn't hurt to look up the actual definition real quick. Underrated, adjective, not rated or valued highly enough. How very true for the examples I have today. Now just pick out some niche random thing where it was made by two guys that live in some undisclosed location. There are things that either need a little more love or some kind of recognition and attention, or I don't know, maybe some goddamn respect on their name. And hey, maybe I'll make people hate me for my examples, not because I'm wrong and stupid. I am stupid though, but because of how right I will be. Silly me, I didn't say the example that they gave for the definition of underrated. A very underrated film. Wow, funny. Speaking of films, how the fuck is this not talked about more? You got your use of authority figures, generic character turns about to be a W, a religious fearmonger and nutcase who somehow gets a call fanatic towards the end of the movie. Your reckless NPCs, your conspiracy theorists, and since things get jumping early, you got all the subtle build of tension, fear, dread. With all that, you got yourself a decent movie. And yes, it has its problems. You know, booty cheek CGI, the length of the movie could be a tad shorter. The whole movie takes place in a grocery store. We really don't get an explanation of the monster's origins or how the military found this other realm. But I think that sort of realism of not knowing anything helps the movie build this mistrust among the stranded survivors. So it becomes human versus monsters instead of just humans versus monsters. And let's be honest, if you're in this situation, you're saying this everybody for themselves. But what really made me consider this underrated is that goddamn ending. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please go watch the last 30 minutes of this movie. Like, holy, I ain't gonna lie, it might be top 5 endings of all time. It's such a jaw dropper. The heavy feeling of despair, hopelessness, the dreadful burden of having to do what you think is the only option you have left. Then what comes next is just eternal suffering. Come on, you can't tell me it's not underrated. Now, if it's something I really like and enjoy, it makes me hysterical when I realize it's highly underrated. So I'm gonna try to be calm and rational when I'm talking about my next example. How the fuck? As I was saying before, how is it possible that the anime of the year isn't really being talked about, trending every other week? And you're probably thinking that don't make no damn sense. You just contradict yourself. Well, it is in my heart. But in all seriousness, the anime I'm talking about is Summertime, and this shit has been so fire. And before anyone says the show isn't over yet, shit ongoing, it can become creepy garbage by the end. I don't give a damn. That's just not happening in no way. From episode 1 till now, it just keeps on getting better. It has you on the edge of your seat. It has the perfect amount of twists. Honestly, it just straight peak. And oh my fucking god, the show's heading towards this climax. Only like 6 episodes left. Plus, the characters and villains are so good, especially the villain is so well written. Chef Kiss is all around. But the hard truth of why this isn't the talk of the town, and the reason why I consider this underrated, is because unfortunately Disney has the rights to the show. And for some reason, their mindset when it comes to handling anime is to lock it up for people outside of Japan. So you probably wouldn't know about it or be able to watch it until the show is complete. So tragic. Hopefully they don't do the same thing to Bleach. I pray they don't. But it's not too much more to say since I don't want to spoil anything and it's still ongoing. Now that I think about it, it's crazy how a streaming service can make a show or movie underrated, which is such a weird concept. This will continue to get more streaming services as the years go by. And low key, I feel like this hurts certain industries in terms of discoverability, maybe even financially. But I guess the sort of positive thing about that would be that there are content creators who base their channels on discovered and sharing lesser known pieces of media. So it probably balances itself out, and I could be wrong. But you know what I'm not wrong about? The Order 1886. Yep, I know. And before I get to starting the keyboard warrior type, I'm a fool, a damn buffoon. Real quick, just think about it. Was it really that bad? You have this dope steampunk era of London you play through, the historical references of real life events and people like the notorious Jack the Ripper, decent weapon choices, an interesting fashion that you're a part of, which have these badass outfits, interesting cast of characters, some cool moments, and it still holds up decently, which says a lot for a game that came out in early 2015. But I know there are many problems people have with this game, which are valid, like the story isn't the best and it could have been fleshed out more. The gameplay is repetitive, and obviously the most controversial thing about this game is the length of it, which at the time was released for $60 was highly disrespectful. Now this game was released for a cheaper price. Would things have been different? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? What I do know, even though it kind of pains me to say, the Order 1886 is low-key underrated, and honestly, I would like to see a sequel or some type of continuation, because if it ever does, I can start calling this game trash again. You know what we didn't get a continuation of, and its stats in the second season just ends abruptly? Like, how they just do that to the Diffys from Phil of the Future? Also, it's disappointing to not hear people mention this show when we talk about classic shows from back in the day, especially when we're talking about Disney. It's crazy how people forget this show existed, like, it was such a good show. And I don't know where quirky is kind of a meme nowadays, but it was quirky in a good way for the time it came out. You got the cool gadgets like the instant food for people who don't or can't cook to save their lives, the dress me hoop, which we need ASAP so we can cut the time on waiting for people to get ready, especially females, the DNA scrambler to get you the BBL you've been dreaming of, or hey, maybe a BBC, the replicator where you can have one clone go to work for you while you fancy a fuck.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
The instamorph, now you could literally be somebody you aren't, like the complete weirdo you've always been. The new ager, just keep it out of the hands of people like this. The penny missile, you could be out here dunking anybody's head top. The giggle, know everything that has happened in history while at the same time getting intel on your ops. And the wizard, your all-in-one multifunctional device. This is a language changer. You can knock your op unconscious, and if that doesn't work, you can always teleport to WeDrop, animal translator, and many more things that it could do, like it literally replace most of the gadgets that they introduced in their early seasons. Then we have the goofy characters like Debbie Berwick.
You heard me, silly.
Join the Bake-a-thon and bring your busload of friends, or else.
Seth Wassmer.
You, mind if I grab a seat? I'd be honored if you grab mine.
Caveman Curtis.
Nice and clean and smelling good, huh? Curtis pretty.
Yes, Curtis, very pretty. Want to see?
Okay, Curtis, you're not.
Also, for some reason, people from the future have 4 toes, which is a bizarre idea to come up with, but cool. You got all the good moments throughout the show. Like when Mr. Hacker thought he was about to get some pussy, so he starts geeking out doing backflips. The cameo from Orlando Brown, aka Andy Baxley.
I ain't got a problem with Lil Bow Wow. Lil Bow Wow got some bomb ass pussy. I don't know nothing else.
The moment we find out Curtis is a damn handyman somehow, you know, I was gonna question it, but that's my guy, he's him. Or what about the time Phil had to go back to 2nd grade so that his handwriting can stop being complete garbage? And while they're sitting there having cookies and milk, you got this badass kid who decides to fill his mouth with milk and decides to squeeze his cheeks to spit up all the milk on Phil's shirt. No lie, I'm being the fuck out that kid. And GTA, of course. Or how about the time when we see that Mr. Diffy got a whole wagon on him? Honestly, the best part about this show was these character pop-ins or interjections.
Look at such a belly full. He'll look like a pregnant whale.
Oh, so now I'm fat, is that it? You're a meanie. You're a mean kid.
We'll see who teaches who.
Whom? It's who teaches whom?
All right, Berwick. You want to throw around bribes? You're on. I'm on. I'm on what?
I don't think there was any other show at the time doing anything like that. It was pretty unique. Another thing that was kind of unique was that there wasn't any corny laugh track. And how can we forget about the classic holiday episodes, especially the Halloween special, which I definitely need to make a separate video on classic Halloween specials of shows from back in the day. Like, how can you not love the Diffys? You got Barbara, who's just a chill mom and shows love to everyone. You got Lloyd, your typical doofus of a father who's stolen to fix the time machine, by the way. And let's not forget, he got a canyon on him. And there's Pim, the typical little sibling who just tries to ruin your life. And it's kind of basically like Stewie from Family Guy, since she wants world domination for some reason. Finally, we have Phil, just your average nerd who low-key bridges the social groups in school. He has your typical girl struggles. You know, he fumbles sometimes. At least he gets a girl at the end. And the only bad thing I could truly say about the show was the second season was slightly weighed down by these 3 characters. These 2 are just forgettable. Like, where my girl Brenda Song at, and where my bro Evan Peters at? And I dislike this. She was such an annoying cringe bag. All 3 of them were just a waste of screen time. Thankfully, they weren't too many episodes. Oh, I almost forgot the references and parody of The Godfather, Pac-Man, Liar Liar, and one of my favorite shows of all time, The Twilight Zone. There were probably others I missed or didn't recognize. But overall, it was a really good show. It was just overshadowed by other Disney shows like That's So Raven, Zack and Cody, Hannah Montana, The Proud Family, and a couple other shows. Honestly, I need people started putting respect on Phil the Future's name. It's criminally underrated. But I think it's about time I wrap this up. I had other things I could have mentioned. Like I could have said this, that, so and so. Like, it's just a whole rabbit hole. But I think I'll just say that for a part 2 to this video or some kind of follow-up. There is one that I will mention real quick, and that's a Butterfly Effect. I wasn't included with The Mist, but when I was rewatching, I realized it's a little too problematic and dated with certain themes, dialogues, and scenes. And it slightly misses the mark with the time travel aspect. It just didn't fully execute on it. It's a decent movie. I just don't think it's underrated. Plus, for some reason, Ashton Kutcher doesn't shower every day like a weirdo. But that's all I got for today. Now, if you didn't know about these pieces of media, or maybe you did and you were just unsure of them, nah, pause, time out. I don't know what the f just happened. I don't know why I just had a list right there. That was wild. I know that it was wrapping up. I know the video was wrapping up, but I just had to pause to say something because I don't know what was that. My fault. Back to the outro. Hopefully I piqued your interest enough for you to go check them out, especially Summertime Render. Please go watch it if you like psychological thriller, mystery, and supernatural. And again, that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, share with the boys, and leave a comment. I'm out. Peace.
Like, you know, Drake is raving. I'm gonna just keep it real.